Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad to see you again. Thought today we'd just do a fantastic little winter scene. I'll show you one that's very simple and easy to do. But first let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with us. While they're doing that, let me tell you what I've got done up here. I have my standard old pre-stretched double prime canvas, and I've just applied a very thin, even coat of liquid white. So it's totally wet and slick and it's all ready to go. So let's just do a fantastic little painting together. Thought today we'd just do something that's got a lot of blues in it. So I'm going to start with a little phthalo blue. I'm going to reach right up here, grab a little bit of the midnight black, and maybe a tiny, tiny amount of phthalo green, just to change the flavor a little bit. Not much green, not much green. I still want it to be blue, but a little phthalo green sometime will just, makes it pretty. Let's go right up here. And let's start in here. With using little crisscross strokes, let's just begin putting in a happy little sky. And we're just using crisscross strokes, little X's, like that. Just like so. And we allow the paint to blend with the liquid white that's already on the canvas. If you were trying to do this on a dry canvas, all you'd get was streaks. But because this is wet, it blends continually. It's always blending. It's very pretty. Makes your life easy. There. Isn't that a pretty color with just that little tiny touch of phthalo green in it? But once again, be very careful. All you need is the tiniest, tiniest little touch. Tiniest little touch. Then we can just blend it a little bit. Like so. But I would like for it to be darker on the edges than it is in the center. That way it sort of leads your eye into the center of the painting. There. I'll tell you what, let's do that again. What the heck? What the heck? We'll take some black, some phthalo blue, least little touch of the phthalo green. Least little touch. Just enough to flavor it. All right. And let's do the same thing down here. What the heck? That was so much fun. Let's just do the entire canvas that way. There. Still making the little crisscross strokes, little X's. Like that. There. All right. A little more of the color. And we can sort of just bring it all together that way. Maybe we'll do like a little vignette today. Since I've painted the whole canvas, that sounds like it'd be fun. I'll show you a very, very simple little winter scene that is exciting. People will like it. People will like it. There. Now sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, you really like to have these edges quite dark. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Prussian blue. It's a much darker blue. And maybe we'll just put that right in the edge here. Just in the edges. I'm going to put a little bit in all four corners. All four corners. There we go. Don't need a great deal. I just want to darken these corners. We're going to do a vignette. I really want you to concentrate on the center of the painting. And a little bit over here in this corner. We don't want to leave him out. Don't want to leave him out. He'd be insulted and get mad. There. All right. Now let me wash the brush and we'll just blend that out. And as you know, we wash our brushes with odorless thinner and we have a lot of fun. Just shake off the excess and beat the devil out of it. All right, now with a clean, dry brush, and be sure it's dry. Be sure it's dry. You don't want to dilute this color that's on the canvas or make it thinner. You want to keep it as thick as possible now. There we go. All I'm doing is just blending this together. All right. And down here, the same thing. There we go. That's a pretty color already. I like that. Okay, now. And then we'll go all the way across. And this just removes brush strokes and brings it all together. And I think we're in business. Okay. Tell you what, maybe today, let's use the little half-size round brush. And I'm going to mix up some black, some phthalo blue, a little touch of the phthalo green into it. Not much, not much. Once again, that green is, it'll eat up your whole world in a heartbeat. Be very careful with it. Very careful, especially in a winter scene. Okay, let me wipe the old knife. Because in a winter scene, phthalo green is almost an emerald green, and you certainly don't want much of that in your winter scene. I'm just going to take this little round brush and just tap it right into that color, just a little. Just tap it. That's the way we load it. Just tap, like so. All right, let's go up here. Maybe back here in our world, maybe we have some little trees that live in here. So just decide where they live in your world and just begin tapping in some very, very basic shape. I'm not looking for a lot of detail. It's too far away. Too far away. Get a little more paint. But I would suggest you start in the center and we'll work in both directions because I want to get progressively lighter as we work outward. There we go. Just think about some little tiny shapes. These are trees and bushes that live far back in the background. And as they work out, lighter and lighter, not near as strong, not as much pressure, more and more gentle, very soft, very gentle. And over in here, see there, it just fades right out. You can probably hear the difference in the amount of pressure that we're hitting the canvas with. There, we're really getting tough. I want this to be very dark. There, maybe there's another big old tree that lives. Yep, you're right. There he is, right in there. Wherever you think there should be one, that's exactly where they should be. There we go. But now, once again, over on this side, I'm going to let it just sort of poop out over here. Just get weaker and weaker till it runs right on out, basically into nothing. There. See how soft that is? And that's exactly what we're looking for. Now then, let's take our old script liner brush. And maybe we'll use just a touch of Van Dyke brown. What the heck? We don't need much though. But thin it with paint thinner till it's literally, it's like ink, or very, very thin. You can see it running right there on the palette. That's what we're looking for. Very thin. Let's go right up here. Now here and there, and there and here, I'm just going to put the indication, and I don't want them to be very strong, just very quiet little indications of a few little trunks and sticks, twigs, little things that live back here in the trees. There. But I don't want a lot of stuff, just a few, just a few. Don't want to overkill here. Can't hardly see these. Same over there. Over in here, maybe we'll put a little one there too. All right. But that's basically all we're looking for. And you could take that same brush with that color on it. I'm going to put a little white out there, and I'm just going to tap that brush with that color on it right into this. So all I'm doing is diluting the tree color a little bit. I don't want it diluted much. And you can come back and here and there, just put the indication of a little tiny bit of highlight. I don't want much. Once again, I'm really trying to keep this very quiet, very soft back in here. Just a few little happy things that you can make out. But that's about all we need. And these little dark spots, don't kill them all. It makes deep, deep shadows back here. There, maybe right in here, just a little. See, you can't hardly even see those. But now when you do your painting, you'll be able to see them. Maybe, let's go over to this tree. We don't want him left out. We'll give him just a tiny bit. There. And that's really about all that I want on this painting. And that makes us a nice little background. It's very simple, and even if you've never painted before, you can do that. You can do that. I know you can do that. Let's take some titanium white. Shoot, let's put some snow back here. Use the old 2-inch brush. Load some paint into it. Just load some paint. Now then, another major decision. You have to decide where your snow is in this painting. And I think it's right here. Make a decision and begin pulling, and just let it just sort of disappear into nothing. If this is going to be like a little vignette, then we want the edges just to sort of disappear back here. But allow it to pick up some of that tree color. It'll end up looking like shadows. It is very pretty, and it'll be your good friend. Don't fight it. Let it pick up some of that color. I intentionally try to get up in there and let it pick up some of that. And we're just going to let it fade right into nothing on either side. like that. That's all we're looking for right now. Shoot. Let's get crazy. That would be a wonderful place to have a little house. So come right up here, I'll show you the easy way to make a little house. All you have to do is figure out basically where you want it, take your knife, and scrape out a general shape. All we're looking for here is just a general shape. We're not committed at this point. We can change it, we can do anything that we want. But the biggest thing this does is remove the excess paint, so it's easier to get the next layer to stick. Shoot, maybe we'll even put a little shed out there. Let's scratch it out too. Now we can take a little Van Dyke brown, just a little Van Dyke brown, pull it out very flat, our little roll of paint as we always have. And let's go right up in here and we'll make the back eave of the house first. Just bloop, like that. Now we're going to mix Van Dyke brown and dark sienna together. And zoop. There. If you don't make those little noises, so it won't work. There we go. And over here, we'll put just a little bit right in there. Like that. Just a tiny little bit. And let me clean off the old knife. Maybe there's a little snow up here on our roof. Just pull it like that. Just like that. See there? That's all there is to it. And we can put a little bit over here on the other side. There. Just a little roof. Now put a little bit of dark right underneath here. If we're going to have a little shed out here, we need a little dark to show the division in there. Looks like I got a little bit of brown in that roof. That's the only thing worse than yellow snow. All right. I'll just go right over the top of it, and we'll take that right out. See there? We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Now then, if we're going to have a little shed, certainly there will be a little bit of snow on its roof too. Back to our brown, and we can just fill that in. All we're doing right now is just blocking in a little bit of color. That's all we're trying to do. Now I'm going to take a touch of yellow ochre, a little dark sienna. We just sort of mix them together, about like that. We don't want to over mix them. I want to cut across, and once again, our little roll of paint. And it might be better here to use the small knife. Just touch and barely let it graze. That's all. In fact, let me grab the small knife. It'll sneak in these little places so much better, like that. Now, I'm going to darken that color. It's the same color, just darker. And put a little bit over there. And back to our Van Dyke brown. And let's just make the indication of some old boards in here, just by touching a little bit of brown to that. Makes it look very old and very weathered. You know, like me. There. Then we come back with our knife, decide where everything is, and we just do what I call a cabinectomy. And you can work out your perspective and bring it all together. That easy. There. And back to our brush that has the titanium white on it. This is just a 2-inch brush loaded with a little bit of titanium white on it. And we can come back in here now and just begin putting in some little things like that. Just cover up anything that we don't want. Shoot, you know what? I didn't put a door in there. We got that fella trapped in there, so let's give him a door. He may want to get out and see what's happening in this world. There. Give him a door. Take a little light color and sort of outline it so it stands out. There. Now he can get out. We had him locked in the house. Had him locked in there. And a little bit more of the snow right in there. Okay. Now, let's take, I get a lot of letters that say, I never put chimneys on my little cabin. So let's put a little chimney right there. You can just use a small edge of the knife and a little brown and giving him a little chimney. I don't want him to freeze to death either. We locked him in there. Least we can do is give him a chimney. There. We'll take a little titanium white and just touch it and let it slide. Just let it break right across there. Just let it slide. See there? Not much though, just a little. And let it break. But it's important that it break. I just want it to look like little things laying back in there. There we go. Now, I'm just going to keep bringing snow on out here. Something maybe like that. And maybe this fella built his little cabin. Maybe there was a little pond right there. Let's go back to our original color. That was black, phthalo blue, and a touch of phthalo green. Just a touch. If we're going to have maybe a little pond, decide where it's at. Just touch the canvas and pull downward. Straight down. Straight down. There, see, that's all you have to do. You make a decision and you can have a pond or a lake, or you can even have a river, anywhere you want it, just like this. On this piece of canvas you have total and absolute control, absolute power. Scary to have this much power. There, now very lightly we go across. Just go across. Something like that. And here and there in here, maybe there's a little bush that's sticking up. Just a little bush, and we'll use that same color. I think I'll use that same color throughout the whole painting. There. And maybe, yeah, maybe our little bush lives right there. There he is. Just sort of push him in like that. And maybe he's got a little friend right there. Wherever you want him. Tell you what, maybe there's another one. You just put as many little weed patches here and there as you want. Drop them in. Drop them in. Then you can take the liner brush, little paint thinner on it, go into that same color. And maybe we'll pull out a little twig and a stick here and there. Wherever. A little over here too. We don't want this one left out. Just some little things that are happening in there. There. And take another fan brush, and we can grab right at the base of that and just sort of blend it in and get a little of the color and pull it. And that way it'll look like shadows once again that are just living right under there. There we go. See there? You can make it look like it's setting up maybe on a little high spot. Something like so. Maybe in our world, you just start seeing things. Maybe there's an old stick that lives here. Take a little of the Van Dyke brown and see, there he is. Just an old stick that lives out there. Now then, I'm going to take just titanium white, load a little bit on the knife, and once again, just let it sort of bounce along there. I want this to set on top of the very smooth snow. It makes an extremely interesting effect. It's very nice when you do it that way. Pay very close attention to angles though. There we go. It's most important that you have angles that look right. A little bit of the liquid white, and I'm going to mix that with titanium white just to make it a little thinner. Just a little, and then all we have to do is just touch. Just touch. And we'll make some little things around the edges here. There we go. A little bit over in here, like that. Wherever you think they should be. Wherever. Back to my old 2-inch brush. Maybe we'll bring a little peninsula right in there. Put it in first with a brush. Maybe I'll just bring it right on down. This is going to be a little pond. Let's start putting some borders on it here. We don't want it to get away and turn into a big river. Just a tiny little pond. Maybe in the summertime, this is where the old fellow that lives here, maybe he has some ducks and they play in here. Some kind of little creatures. Back to a little of the titanium white, and then once again, just sort of let it slide right over the top of that. Barely touching. Whisper light. Whisper light. And the same thing here, just shoom. But gentle, very gentle. Very, very gentle. And we'll just let it sort of blend back and disappear. Just let it sort of disappear back in here. We don't know where it goes. There. All right. Let's have some fun over here on the other side. And we'll take one of the little half-size oval brushes. Round brush, I'm sorry, I said oval. Round brush. Round one. And they're not really totally round. They're actually sort of oblong. So you can bring it to a chisel edge. See how sharp that is? You can bring that rascal to a very sharp chisel edge. Let's go up here. Maybe. Yep. Right there. Let's have just a little evergreen tree. There. Isn't that fantastic? You can take that little brush and you can actually do entire paintings using nothing but these little round brushes. The big one or the little one, either one. Either one makes no difference. Either one. Tell you what, maybe there's a nice land mass that lives right here. Just goes right on out. Something like it. I don't know. Wherever you think it should be. All right. Now, I'm just going to take that same color and go through a little bit of white, just to lighten it, just like we did with the little trees back in the back. And here and there, put the indication of a few little highlights. I don't want many, because I don't want to lose this darkness here. Don't want to lose that. And very quickly it'll go away and leave you. There. Let me wash off the old brush. This one's not as much fun to wash as the big one, though, because it doesn't splatter all over. Though it does pretty good. It does pretty good. Now today, I'm going to take some of the liquid clear and put out. Liquid clear. And to that, I'm going to add just titanium white. I'm going to mix it till it's very thin. It's very, very thin paint. There, all right, let me wipe the old knife off here. Very thin. And here and there, I'm going to add just a little bit of that to the bristles. And let's come right in here. And I'm sort of pushing it sidewards. I want to make the indication of all kinds of little doers that are hanging out here. See them? Little snow-covered things, but give it a little push so you get those little edges on it. Looks like all kinds of little bushes. Ooh, I see something. I see something. Watch here, watch here, watch here. Let's take a little of the titanium white, bring it right out here, like that. Just titanium white. Bring it right on out. A little bit of the dark color, and maybe there's a little area like that. Then we'll bring that out. There, isn't that neat? Just so there's a little doer there. Back to our white. Maybe it comes right on around. Like that. A few little things in here. And then just let them disappear. This is such a gentle touch. Practice this touch a little bit because you're just barely grazing the canvas. Just want to create the illusion of a little doer here, little recessed area. I'm going to take some of that same blue color with a little Van Dyke brown in it. And maybe, you know me, I think there ought to be a big old tree right about there. Put a big wiggle in him. Just give him a friend. Everybody needs a friend. There. Something about like that. Take our liner brush, a little bit of that same color, and let's put the indication here and there of a limb or two. It's just growing right out of there. Wherever. There. One few here. I'm going to put some little snow-covered leaves and stuff on here, so we don't have to do a whole bunch. Don't have to do a whole bunch, just a few little indications. While I have that going, maybe there's an old, lives right there, old stick and just grew right out. Might even be an old small tree in there. Just put all these little things in that you want, wherever you want them. Okay, let's go back to our little round brush that has that white on. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of dark color first, and then I'm going to go right over here to this very thin color we made and just tip the tips of the bristle, just the tips. And we can go up here and just sort of tap down and do both the highlight and the shadow at one time. Want that to just drop right in there like that. There we go. See, we put all kinds of little things. This is a thin paint. It's about like liquid white, or maybe just a little thicker than liquid white. But it'll make nice highlights that easy on your trees. There, because in the wintertime you have all of these gorgeous little things that the Jack Frost just plays on them and off they go. There. Wherever. Something like so. Then down here at his foots, we'll put in a few little bushes and twigs and sticks. And shoot, we about have a finished painting. Something about like so. There. You could take a tiny bit of white and just highlight this tree a little bit, and we'll call this one done. The old clock on the wall tells me it's time to go. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. And from all of us here, happy painting, and God bless, my friend.